Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special guest with us this evening. The one and only Steven Swirsky has joined the podcast. How's it going, Steven?
Doing well. Long-time listener, long-time lurker.
Yeah.
No one knows me, but that's fine.
And a grade A compositor, ladies and gentlemen. If you need any animation done, you hit up this man.
You're too kind, sir.
Yes. Thank you for being here, Steven. You are here to talk about our main topic, which is all about achievements. Nintendo is missing one big part of why people play games, and that's getting achievements or trophies. That's our main topic today, is talking all about achievements and giving a little history, giving some ideas of what Nintendo can do. They want to scratch that itch for achievements and for trophies. We got a bunch of news. There's some big ones there, such as Sega cologne. Wow, Sega cologne's coming out. Let's start with the big ones. We got some game award.
Slow news week.
No, not cologne's
It's
huge.
actually not. Yeah.
That's a big news week.
Yeah.
Start with Sega cologne.
You gotta go fast. Speaking of fast, the Game Awards are coming up. We'll discuss that. Some more Activision Blizzard bullshit that happened. Riot Forge cross Nintendo Switch did a showcase with some Indie World representation there. Some new GameStop deals, and Phil Spencer has thoughts on emulation. How's everyone doing?
Oh, good. Doing all right. Yeah. What? Fuck. We all got our booster shot on Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Like we all three of us and Summer and Kyle independently all got our boosters scheduled on the same day. Did that fuck you guys up, or was that just me? I got totally fucked up from it.
Me too. I was out for a whole day. It probably went away. My arm was very, very sore, but I was probably drowsy for maybe 12 of the 24 hours.
Yeah. And it's the third time around too, so you like recognize those symptoms this time. Because I was feeling a little sick earlier in the week, and then it was like that on top of it was just like a oof. It was pretty bad. But I'm glad to have the jab. Also been watching a lot of Cowboy Bebop, the live action show, which is not a popular thing to say, I guess.
Do you like it?
I think it's great. Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
not perfect. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and it's got lots of problems. But it's like it's hugely entertaining, and I'm a massive fan of the anime, and so it's like if it's just not gonna be the anime, and if you're okay with that, I mean, I think it's pretty great.
I don't know if it like wants to be, but
Yeah,
because I think it's trying to be its own thing. Like I haven't watched it yet, but that's kind of the vibe I was getting.
it's like 45-minute to an hour episodes as well, so it's paced totally differently. You know, they're trying to do something different with it, but then also at the same time, it's like strangely faithful in some ways, like more so than you would think it would be. So it's kind of like a weird hodgepodge, but I like it. I think I was very negative on the casting early on, just from seeing like images and stuff. But everybody's really won me over. I think John Cho's doing a great job as Spike, and yeah, I think it's a great show.
I had a interesting conversation at the movie theater before seeing Ghostbusters. We went to Alamo, and I had reserved seating, and we ended up sitting in between this group of people, of 6 people, and someone asked us to move.
Draft house.
Exactly, and I was
like, sorry, they're gonna kick me out if I don't have this ticket.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, well, we already ordered our food, but this person was very adamant about taking our seats, and if we would have moved, we would have had worse seats.
Right.
And I was so confused that someone made like such a entitled question that I just didn't respond because I've never been in this situation. So
Did you just like pretend you couldn't hear that?
Shut down, or just kind of like shut down a little bit?
I was perplexed. And so my partner was like, "No, we already ordered food, and we don't want to make it confusing to the waiter."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Did they say like why? Like or,
They
like, mention-
wanted to sit together. So after we told them no, they ended up talking through us, like the two parties.
Oh.
It was a weird time. But
Yeah.
my partner and I have just been making fun of them and being the butt of our
see,
jokes.
I feel like that would be something that I would totally do. I think I would be like, if my friends were like all over there and I was with somebody else and there was like people in between, I'd probably ask too. But I also think like
I don't think you would
ask it like nicely. No, I would. I mean, I've done that before.
But I feel like
but I wasn't like, hey, you need to move. You know what I mean? Like you can like say that in a way that's like approachable, you know.
Not to go off the rails. I think we could talk and spend an entire episode about the legitimacy of the question, which I think it's okay to ask. Like airport or airplane is fine. Like a sports game is fine, but like reserved seating at a draft house just feels weird.
I think
guess so.
reserved seating anywhere feels weird to me. About asking to switch, where like I got on a web page and I selected these seats,
right?
And you're asking,
but that's what an airplane. That's what an airplane is, though. Well, so why is an airplane okay?
I don't, probably because there isn't a show and I'm not like trying to sit in.
There's a show.
Place.
There's an in-flight movie, Patrick.
But even then, I could see somebody being like, I selected this seat so that I get on the plane faster.
Yeah, well, that's why you ask and you're not just like move.
Yeah, but
because if I say no, you just go away.
I don't know. Yeah, it's totally a different personality thing. The whole asking thing as well. Like,
yeah.
I would never, David. If you asked me that, I'd be like, "What are you doing?" No, I'm not moving for you.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I just follow you home in your car and search it.
That's fine. I will follow you home and make you uncomfortable.
Also, that's happened to me at a theater before, where I've been followed home. Someone followed behind me in a car after a movie.
What?
Because I told them to be quiet during the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But maybe Steven, how was your week?
This is fascinating.
We're off the rails.
We are.
I'm glad I brought us here, but this was fascinating.
This is a lifestyle podcast.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. It was good. Like we went to Mohawks this weekend and saw a show. It was a lot of fun. It was Corey and the Wong Notes.
Nice. I think I saw some other people at that show.
Did they do a big band thing?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Corey is a part of another band called Wolfpack.
Yeah, I love Wolfpack.
So they're super dope, and he kind of has his own like side solo gig.
Cool.
And so he did this like variety show recently online. And so he's kind of been touring with that same crew that he did the variety show with. And yeah, so it's like a big band setup. Got like some horn sections and like a really sick like bassist, Sonny T. He actually played with like Prince and a bunch of other like famous people.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
Very cool. Patrick, how was your week, man?
Oh, it's been a little bit rough, to be honest with you, but there's been some good things too. So nothing I can really talk about here. So
very good. Well, I wish you luck in all your endeavors.
Thank you. But games have been great, actually. So I'll talk about that when we get to the what you've been playing section. But
very good.
Tease.
Yeah, you better stick around to the end of the episode. All our advertisers are at the end.
Well, last week we did an episode on Shin Megami Tensei 5 and also Jingle All the Way.
Because it's a great movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Because that's what we got a lot of comments about. Luke Bowyer said it's turbo time. Vincent Goodwin also brought up Jingle All the Way. Apparently this movie. I need to watch this again, I guess. You know?
This movie slaps hard.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Yeah.
Vincent,
it's always brought up as a movie that's like objectively bad, which I don't understand. You know, they're like, like a bad movie, like Jingle All the Way or something like that. And I'm like, what?
No,
I just don't think we're living in the same planet.
A bad movie is Jingle All the Way 2. Have
Yeah.
you seen that one? That's trash. It's so bad.
Dude, I won't watch it. I'll tell you what. Let's get off the rails again for a second. I'll tell you the last time my life fell apart around me. I felt like I was sinking into the ground. It's when I was in front of a 7-Eleven and I was looking at the red box and I saw a poster for Jingle All the Way 2 starring Larry the Cable Guy. And I just like melted into the cement. That's how hard my life is. That was the most earth-shattering moment.
It's one of the few movies I've fallen asleep to.
Well, Vincent mentioned whether Arnold is perfectly cast or miscast. I guess perfectly miscast. I don't know.
You can't do that movie without Arnold.
And then a little bit more on the topic. Vincent Goodwin also asked about constantly fusing demons in Shin Megami Tensei, asking if they're doing it wrong because they like to just kind of keep demons around. And a little teaser too, hopefully very soon because it's almost done, episode of Optimal Fusion. Austin and I actually talked about this question, about Vincent's question. And short answer here, Austin says play the game however you want. But that by fusing demons, you can get demons you might not have access to yet on the map. But also that overly fusing demons can bite you in the butt too. So yeah, I guess take that for what it's worth. And full answer, listen to that. To us talk about it more. But
full answer is behind a paywall.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to agree that Jingle All the Way 2 is good.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. Don't agree to that.
Okay. And then also we did a giveaway, right? David, do you want to
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and announce this. So thank you to everybody who entered our giveaway for a copy of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. And we can announce the winner, which was Steve Irwin himself, Matt Hobby, on Twitter, has won the game, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, graciously provided by our friends at Sega of America. So Matt Hobby, hit us up on Discord. We talk to you every day on that thing. So just hit me up in a DM or something, and I'll shoot you the code for that game. And I hope you enjoy it. It's my game of the year. I think. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, another paywall for an episode coming out later this year.
A rave review from David Howe. My game of the year, I think.
I love it. Yeah. It's definitely my top 3. I'll say that. But yeah, congratulations. And if stay tuned because we've got more giveaways coming up as well. We'll be doing these sporadically over the course of the next couple months. So thanks everybody for joining in on that.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from listeners, viewers. So send us a note, share the podcast somewhere online, leave us a comment, and maybe we will mention you here as well. And
before we transition, we're doing a Secret Santa. We're doing this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
So call. If you're listening right now and you're like, man, I'm a Switch Headz through and through. I've been there Discord since day 1 or day yesterday. We're doing a Secret Santa. Join the Discord. We have links in the meetup channel. I also posted in our Facebook group. So we'll be hanging out there. I think signups end November 27th, which is a few days.
Saturday.
Yeah, the Saturday. And then we're gonna exchange gifts live on Discord on December 19th, I think is the day.
That's correct.
Cool.
Yeah. So if you've not joined our Discord up to this point, please join. We'd love to have you guys join the Secret Santa. It's a fun time. And thanks to Summer for setting that up as well.
Thanks, Summer.
All right. So now we're going to talk about things that have been happening in the gaming sphere.
Wait. No,
she can go all the way.
So first up, Nintendo has put out on YouTube songs from WarioWare Get It Together, in particular a Spanish version of Penny's song, which is not in the game apparently. So this is weird for a couple reasons. It's weird that they're putting their music on YouTube because there's plenty of Nintendo music that is not on YouTube that is just weird. And then also that this isn't a song that is in the actual game. And why isn't it in the Spanish version of the game? And why are they putting it on YouTube? I don't know. I've listened to it. It's actually quite good.
It's a great song. It's a Penny song. It's a banger. It's
in
like
Spanish.
Yeah, it's a banger in Spanish. It's a banger in all languages. Yeah, it's like it's a chiptune song.
I feel like it could be one of those things where someone just grabbed a bunch of files and tossed it up, and that accidentally like made it in to the group.
And they're like,
like it was cut from the game, but
yeah,
it's weird.
It's not that weird for Nintendo to upload music. I mean, if it's just anything, it would be weird. But they did do. I think whenever they do like vocal themes from their games, they do this. I think they've done this with Smash. They did it with Fire Emblem and with Mario Odyssey, obviously with the Jump Up Superstar. So it's like they've done this kind of stuff before for like their vocal stuff, and they probably just put a lot of work into the production of this thing and then just wanted to put it up. But it is weird that it's not in the Spanish version of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's out there if you want to go listen to it.
Great news item to start off a heavy news week.
And don't worry, a Sega cologne's coming.
Yeah, we'll get there. You gotta save the big stuff for the middle. So this was interesting. There was a Riot Forge Nintendo Switch showcase. So Riot is a company that makes League of Legends and all the now offshooting games, and there's also that cartoon, the anime, right, on Netflix. Arcane. Everybody loves Arcane.
Arcane's good. It's really
cool.
cool.
Lots of people rave about it, even as people are like, I never played League of Legends, but this show is cool. Yeah, well, and then what's interesting about it is that Riot is now, or other studios too, right? Like this is sort of like a third party situation. All these games are being made. Like Airship Syndicate is making one of these games. All these games they announced, and they're just different style games in this universe with varying art styles and stuff. There's like sort of a platformer, there's like almost a rhythm game, and like a sort of, I guess, a strategy combat type game. So we'll see how successful these games are and if they're any good and that kind of stuff. What do y'all think about this? It's just like Riot really wants League of Legends to be more than just League of Legends, right? And they're pushing it real hard.
Yeah, like I think this is actually super cool. Like, because I've never been interested in like the MOBA. I don't know about y'all. Like I tried it for like 5 minutes and it's just not my type of game. But the world is definitely interesting, and they've put a lot of care, like love and care, into the characters and to this world building. And so for people who don't really like MOBAs, like this is a really cool opportunity to finally like get into that world and kind of discover some of these characters and lore that a lot of people have fallen in love with. And so I'm super excited for it. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, so a couple of these games are out now, and a couple of them are coming next year sometime. Well, so it'll be interesting to see if anybody gets into this stuff and how well they do. Another big company is Activision Blizzard, and we've talked about this a lot. They've had
they suck.
They suck for sure, more than Riot. Who knows? But yeah, so there was a big, not that this was like unknown, but there's a big report that the Wall Street Journal put out about how, I guess in particular, the CEO of the company, his name is Bobby Kotick, correct? Is how you say
Kotick or Kotick? I'm not sure. It's one of those two. Yeah.
About how they knew about a lot of this stuff. As you know, then a bunch of investors have called for, his resignation, and then a bunch of workers had a big walkout. All the big gaming companies, Nintendo included, have put out statements, internal and letters to them and that kind of stuff. So, I remember in a group I'm involved with, a bunch of people were talking about how nothing's going to change over there and how he's never going to quit, but it does seem like he might be being forced out.
When like Jim Ryan and fucking Phil Spencer and Doug Bowser are all making statements about how they're trying to distance themselves from the kinds of activities of the head of Activision Blizzard, then yeah, that you're starting to finally see the writing on the wall, I think, for Bobby Kotick. And justifiably so, and it's about fucking time. Like he should have been the buck stopped with him when all this stuff was going on beforehand, and then all the new stuff that's been coming out about him specifically. This has to be the nail in the coffin. And if you look at their stock prices too, it's just like fucking plummeting right now, And so it's like, I think the right thing to do for the company would be for him to step down. Needless to say, the right thing to do ethically would be for him to step down. So yeah, hopefully the writing's on the wall, and they can actually get some real change done there once he's out of the head of management.
And this is like pretty huge. Like I can't remember a time where like each of these companies have like kind of spoken out in this way. I know that Nintendo one was kind of like not really public. So
it was like an internal memo.
Yeah, but still, like that's pretty crazy.
Everybody wants to make it clear that even though we have to work with them or whatever, we want it to be clear we're not, condoning it. Yeah.
Well, it's like, who's going to be the first one to actually pull games? or pull releases, or
Right.
Sony like took the new Call of Duty game off of their banner on their eShop or whatever, right? And so it's
Right.
like, but they're still selling it. So it's like, I think, well, yes, public statements mean something. I think that the group of people you're talking about there, Patrick, that's like the way it could be true, right? It's like once these guys actually stop playing ball and not just like, trying to save face, then that's when, they'll be really between a rock and a hard place. But let's hope some change can actually happen without people losing access to games that they want to play, because that's also maybe, there's a whole argument there on if that's fair for all the people that put in, years of their lives into development of a game that had nothing to do with this kind of malpractice, so.
It's like really easy to be cynical about the situation because, like, if Kotick leaves, like, who's going to replace him? Like, could it just be someone that's just as bad or even worse? And
yeah, there's a weird conversation happening on the LinkedIn side of things where a lot of Activision Blizzard employees are actively like apologizing, like, "Hey, I worked on this game." There are people who are staying with Activision Blizzard because we continue to make good games, and we are making the games for you, and we want to stay here despite the leadership being terrible people because we are willing to stay here to make a difference, and we don't want to jump ship. So there's like these warring visions about what people want to do, and people want to stay, people want to leave, and there's different fronts that are happening, and communication coming from people internal, but also all these other voices. What we're talking about now are external partners trying to influence the internal structures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it reminds me a lot of New Movement Fallout Theater.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that kind of happened at the Comedy Theater we're at, where it was like problems were starting up at the very top. Nobody wanted to like not be a community anymore, but we needed to kind of cull the problems and totally rebrand it. We'll see if it comes to something like that here.
It also makes me think, and this is like not to trivialize anybody that's sexually harassed or whatever, but about like living in Texas, about like how it's like sometimes I'm like, should I leave Texas and go somewhere that's more aligned with my values, or do you stay here and
to be a blue vote in a red sea?
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not an easy thing, I'm sure, for the people that work there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I don't, y'all, is there anything else? It's a complicated situation. It's hard to just gloss over it.
Step down, Bobby. We know you're listening to this podcast. Step down. Leave.
It'll be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, right.
Don't take a severance. Donate your severance to fucking, fucking battered women's shelter or some shit. Yeah, like do what you need to do. You'll be fine for the rest of your life. Quit. You should quit. Everybody wants you to quit. Just quit.
There we go. So this past week, the Game Awards announced all of the nominees. So the Game Awards happens in December. It's always a lot of fun, or relatively fun. And it's coming up soon.
The fun is just shoved down our throat every year.
We like to talk about it though. And so it's sort of the biggest awards show in gaming. And so Game of the Year announcements will start there. Nominees. So Nintendo podcast. So we got to mention that Metroid Dread got the nod. It's one of the 6 games that's nominated for Game of the Year. None of the other ones are available on the Nintendo Switch. So, Nintendo gamers may not be as familiar with them. But
they threw Nintendo a bone.
They did.
Sometimes they don't.
So the other games will be Deathloop, It Takes Two, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. What do y'all think? What do you think's going to win? Do you think that's fair? Is there anything missing?
I feel like I've heard like people, obviously throw Horizon out there as kind of being missing, but that was like a weird situation where people didn't get the codes in time, or there was like
Forza?
right when the nomination. Yeah, Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had them for like a month or something. I think they had them like back in October. So
yeah, but yeah, I've only played It Takes Two on that list, but I think that deserves it. Like that game is, it's very different, but it's incredibly impressive. Like how much they've crammed into it, especially in terms of gameplay. Like you're changing how you're playing like constantly, and it's really really well made.
Yeah, I think Forza was a bit snubbed, to be honest. I can't think of a racing game kind of better than Forza. It's like kind of the pinnacle of racing games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very, very good game. So I'm very kind of surprised that it's not in there, but it's also like such a genre. The racing genre is not usually what you think of as game of the year. So I guess I can see that in that way, but
Well, I don't think it was even in like the simulation or like racing categories or anything.
oh,
So I
it
think
is. It's in
it was?
sports.
Oh,
It's in
okay.
sports and racing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Matt, what do you think? I could be wrong, but you might have played the most of these of any of us. Did you play Resident Evil Village?
I played Resident Evil Village, Psychonauts 2, Metroid Dread, and I'm about 75% through It Takes Two. But on my docket to play is Deathloop, and I probably won't play Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank seems the one that's like maybe a little out of place here, right?
I
think it
I don't
probably
know. I didn't
deserves
play
it.
it.
I
Yeah.
think like Psychonauts 2 was the most surprising addition to Game of the Year. I think the writing is incredible. Some of the gameplay is like fun. The animation and the story and the world of Psychonauts 2 is absolutely fucking incredible. The level of detail in that game. I've said that in many episodes. I'm just surprised to see it alongside of games like Metroid Dread and Deathloop and Resident Evil, because it's, they haven't had a new entry into the franchise in like 11 years or 12 years. And Psychonauts is, in my opinion, like very unfamiliar to most gamers or have never played
Kinda
the first one
niche.
before. Yeah, exactly. See it side by side with Metroid Dread, which is a beloved game that we've all been talking about the last few weeks. Or last
Yeah,
month.
I mean, I just remember like when Psychonauts came out, I was hearing lots of Game of the Year contender discussion, right? Like it was really, really well reviewed game. It's up there. Like I'm not super surprised, but I'm happy for Double Fine.
Me
like
too.
because they clearly have been working on this game for a long ass fucking time, and it shows. And so that's good. A little surprised not to see Returnal in there. I feel like I also heard a lot of talk about that as a Game of the Year contender. I don't know if it was nominated for anything at the end of the day, Returnal, but
I don't know.
either way, I haven't had a PS5 this whole time, so I don't I don't know about any of these exclusives. Yeah, but I'm happy for Metroid. Right, that's great. I mean, like, if any, obviously that was Nintendo's big game this year. I think was Metroid Dread, and it's a fantastic game, and it's just nice to see a 2D game nominated for Game of the Year, right?
Mhm.
And it deserved it. It's not like a Nintendo placeholder, like I was kind of joking about. Like it definitely deserves Game of the Year. So, or at least to be nominated. So I'm happy about that. Monkey Ball was snubbed.
Well, the other category we have to talk about is Best Family, because that is apparently just like Best Nintendo Game.
Yeah.
As I heard somebody on the internet joke, Best Family has It Takes Two again, and then the rest are all Nintendo games. It's Mario Party Superstars, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World, plus Bowser's Fury, and WarioWare Get It Together. So, what do y'all think about this category in general? Do you think like objectively, like which of these games is best for family play? Is that like how we have to think about this, or do you think it's just the best game in this category?
I don't see best family game as like best game to sit on the couch with your kids and play multiplayer. I don't see it as that. I think it means more like best all ages game,
Yeah.
which should have been Forza Horizon 5. No, I'm just kidding.
Which is also kind of
Metroid
weird.
Dread.
Like It Takes Two is like dealing with like divorce and like really heavy like relationship problems. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's fine to like.
That's-
it's good to like talk about those things. Like as
What more
to a young
family
person.
shit is there than divorce? Yeah. That's why
It's just kind of
that's-
weird, like seeing that next to like Mario and like Pokemon. It's like heavy like relationship divorce issues, and then like Mario. Like,
Yeah. That's why Call Me Brother is a family film.
Yeah.
Go to callmebrother.com. Anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think should win this? Mario Party.
I mean, it's really good, but it's also like two of the games in there are basically remakes, right? It's like Mario Party is kind of a remake. Fucking Bowser's.
I think
Bowser's
Bowser's
Fury-
Fury carries it.
Yeah, well, that's like a 3-hour game being bundled with like a 15-hour re-release.
I'm
you
pretty
know?
sure I got more than 3 hours out of it.
Which is great.
You've ridden Plessy for 3 hours straight.
Yeah, I probably did. Like,
Just
that was
bopping
that's-
out to that wave race
that
music.
song.
Yeah,
It's a great bop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, What about any of the other categories? Do you want to talk about like best indie, or is there anything else you want to mention, or just broadly?
What's nominated
else?
for best indie?
Yeah, so it's 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Inscription, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, and Loop Hero.
I don't think I played any of those.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Loop Hero and Death's Door coming to the Switch, but neither of them are out on the Switch right now. It doesn't stop me from. I play games on Game Pass too, but you know what was maybe snubbed is a game that I'm going to talk about later in this episode. Sable. Sable is very good, and I'm a little surprised not to see it in that list.
Surprised not to see Unpacking as well. That was doing the rounds earlier. I heard a lot of people mentioning that was actually considered to be like their GOTY for that year.
I wonder if that was a cutoff issue.
Recent,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I just feel like Inscription just came out like 2 weeks ago or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know much about that game at all.
Yeah, I guess you said that, Patrick, and I didn't even hear it. It just rolled right over my brain.
I don't know much about it.
Inscription?
It looks super cool.
With a Y. Yeah. I don't know.
That's not how you spell inscription.
But we have all this to look forward to. So many other categories and things. I'm sure we'll talk all about it in a couple of weeks after the Game Awards. But yeah.
Yeah, we usually do a Game Awards episode because there's usually a lot of like announcements and stuff like that, and it's just kind of like a fun celebration.
Oh yeah,
it's funny. People like to shit on the Game Awards, and pretty much rightfully so. I also really like when people call them the Keeleys, like the Oscars or something like that. But it's like people are like, hey, like they don't really like mean anything, but it's like also they do. Like it's like there's a certain point where like if something doesn't have any real value, but enough people are talking about it, it has value just because of that. You know what I mean? Like, because it's the one thing that everybody knows. So it's like when people are like, oh, it doesn't actually really matter at the end of the day. It's like, I think it does. It's a big advertising boom. And so it's just nice to see every year, even though it can be aggressively, it could be a lot better. And it's got issues. It's still nice to see a celebration of gaming at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's like a super cool like event. Like, yeah, like you said, it has its issues, but I also think it's cool how open Jeff is with like being open to suggestions. Like he will just like be on Twitter and be like, hey, like tell me what you didn't like or what you did like, and we'll consider it. And I just think what he's done for that is pretty remarkable. Just like, I don't know, it's just cool to think about how, an event like this couldn't exist 10 years ago or something. Just something this broadly broadcasted and celebrated, and to this degree, like this huge stage with like an orchestra and stuff, like I don't know, that's incredible. Like just having that much like fanfare for games is like really, really cool. So even though it has its like weird flaws and like weird marketing things, like they have to do those things to like to fund the event. So I don't know, it's still cool.
Yeah, I like we're all celebrating games for a little sliver of time together, even though, it's one long ad. That's fine. It's cool. So
is every Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they didn't bring back the like dancing Gillette, like shaving thing. Like they had like the first year or something. I don't know if y'all remember that.
I don't remember that. No.
I guess no one remembers that. They had like a dancing Gillette guy who like come up on screen, like a little motion graphic thing. It was just, it was bad. The marketing used to be a lot worse. Like they've gotten better.
It's more professional. Yeah.
Yeah.
This year will be Manscaped.
The Game Awards are December 9th at 7 p.m. Central Time.
While we are talking about the Game Awards, Nintendo leaker Samus Hunter on Twitter suggests that the 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda will continue at the Game Awards. And Steven, you talking about the orchestras and stuff, somebody, I was reading through the comments on this and somebody's like, it's probably just an orchestra or something like that. Not that it's just that, but like that, that was like, oh, that's actually could make a lot of sense. If it's even true. But we will see. I guess there's been some other rumors about Zelda games maybe coming as well, but
I feel like it's a good bet that it'll be there in some form.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been at the Game Awards. Like Breath of the Wild was like teased there a lot. I just feel like it's been so long since we've gotten any Breath of the Wild shit, so I don't really remember exactly when it was. But I definitely love for this feature. There's been a lot of rumblings about this right now. Hot Girl Video 69, Tiffany Treadmore on Twitter, hit or miss sometimes, but she's been backing this up. Mark Amaro also has been talking about more Zelda stuff for the 35th anniversary coming out this year. A lot of stuff that's been being sat on, that probably would have come out this year for the 35th anniversary had Breath of the Wild 2 been ready. At least that's kind of my main theory on all this, is that like the reason that Nintendo didn't make a bigger deal out of Zelda's 35th after doing that whole big thing for Mario is because they wanted to end it with a big cap off of in either the end of this year or in March, Breath of the Wild 2 having a release date and all this stuff, and then having it be a big year-long celebration. I think that it's probably any releases they have in their back pocket are probably better served as marketing for Breath of the Wild 2 than they are as just like a celebration for Zelda's 35th, right? So I think if they are going to start ramping up stuff for an eventual Breath of the Wild 2 release, Game Awards seems like a pretty good time to start that. We'll see. But it would definitely make a lot of sense to me. It's been like all quiet on the Zelda front. So anything would be really nice to see, even if it's not Breath of the Wild 2 related.
All right, so moving on, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have come out this past week. I think they're sitting at around a 76 on Metacritic for whatever that's worth. I know, David, you've played a little bit, right?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I
mean, it's just, I'll talk about it later in the show, but I'm not like a big graphic. I'm not like a big, like, oh my God. I mean, here I am talking about how much Forza Horizon needed to be game of the year, but it's like, I can excuse bad graphics, but it's like, this game looks really, really bad. It's just like difficult to look at. Maybe it's better in handheld mode. I was playing Jeremy's copy. Jeremy, if you're listening right now, thanks. I don't know if you knew that you lent me that, but you did digitally. And I just wanted to try it out for a bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just like I've been playing a lot of Shin Megami Tensei 5, so going over to this is a little bit difficult in many different ways. But whatever. I mean, it's a good game. It's just like, is the DS game thrown onto the Switch, basically? And the graphical upgrades are basically nothing. They do a different style, but it looks and plays like a DS game, basically.
And that's all we're going to say about it.
It doesn't matter because it's making a buttload of money. There's this game Industry Biz article that says it's the number two second biggest boxed game launch of 2021. We're in November and it's selling so much.
That's disappointing, right?
It's the top of the eShop. People love Pokemon, no matter what form.
Our show is called Super Switch Headz, but our show should be called Fuck Pokemon Heads. That's basically what we do on the show.
It's not for me. Not for me. That's okay.
I saw it described online as RPG comfort food. Like whenever a new Pokemon game comes out, and I think that that's like a pretty good way to look at it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, and yeah, I mean, like I played Diamond back in the day. I beat Diamond. I love Pokemon Diamond. It's a great game. I think it's like the Pokemon games. You could argue that they peaked in the DS era, right? Or kind of at their best. And I think that this is a good game. It's just like, if we're not going to give people a pass for doing low effort ports or remakes or whatever, they shouldn't give this a pass just because it's Pokemon. It's like Ilka, they made a game that is technically a game, and it's like a remake of this, and it's like the lowest effort remake you could possibly do. I mean, it's like when you like they do the chibi thing, right? I'm gonna just let me just shit on this thing for a second. They do the chibi thing, right? And it's like, oh, it's okay. It'll be like the camera's like top down, and you just see them from that way, and that's why they're doing it. But the camera constantly gets right up in the faces of these like 5 polygon chibi characters, and they just look terrible. And it's like, and I'm playing it, I'm streaming it, and I'm sitting here at my monitor, and it's like a chibi face is like this big in my field of view, and it looks terrible. And like half of the face, like this eye is fine, but then this eye is like super, super low res. And like, I will say though, the music is really good.
Come on. Keep on going, David.
I don't know. Whatever. It's all right. Check out my stream on twitch.tv/.
Would you say like, so you refer to it as a comfort food? Is it like a
I think it's
Like
like fast food.
Yeah, like a trashy,
okay.
slimy.
More so than comfort food.
Probably McDonald's.
yeah, okay. Like
It's
fries.
like the McRib. It's like the McRib's back. It's like, hey, there's a Pokemon remake.
We're gonna keep that analogy around. I like that.
Let's start using comfort foods as the way to describe
Pokemon
video games.
remix are the McRib
Of video games.
All right, now we're getting to what everybody wants to know about, and that is the Sega cologne.
Yeah, it's here.
So this blew my mind when I saw this news. We have to talk about it. Sega is putting out colognes for some of its famous games. There is a Yakuza cologne, a Shenmue cologne, and a Sonic the Hedgehog. And let's also point out that these are unisex colognes. They're not marketed towards any gender in particular. So this is weird. What do you think these smell like?
The Shenmue cologne smells like dead dad.
Damn.
A universal smell.
I don't
We
know what
all
that smells like, but can't be good.
Rotting dad.
Yeah, it could smell like Games of Lucky Hit. It could be smell like sailors. It could smell like
Forklifts.
Forklifts.
Man, I'm a big Shenmue fan. Like all
It could
things
smell like the
considered.
four Woo-Doo. How many Shenmue references can I fit?
This is one of those signs of the end of capitalism or whatever, right? Like those, like capitalism in decline. What in the world do we need a Sonic the Hedgehog cologne for? What is it? I do want to know what it smells like, though. I don't know what else to say about this.
Fragrance note says fresh citrus, grapefruit zest, Caribbean lime. So it's a lemon lime. It's a zesty smell.
That's the
Yeah,
Sonic
it's a
one.
nice
That's the
citrusy
Sonic
one.
So it's like one of the tropical zones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, so weird.
That's exciting.
Hey, look, if we just had the whole last year, there was a Mario everything coming out every month. There was a Mario banana or some shit. So whatever. If Sega wants to make a cologne, then that's fine.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a Mario everything too, but yeah, fair enough.
Someone tells George Lucas that.
So while we're talking about sponsoring things and that kind of thing, Nintendo is partnering to put together an officially licensed Smash Brothers tournaments, series of tournaments. They're partnering with Panda is the name, right? And they do this kind of thing. Really interesting to see this. What do you think? What do y'all think about this? Like, I would have thought after the collapse of the Smash community around all the sexual harassment, they'd be like, no way we're getting involved anytime soon. But here we are, a year later, I guess a little more than a year later, and they're doing it.
It is super surprising just seeing how I feel like Nintendo doesn't normally like to extend the life of their games in any form or fashion. But maybe this is a way to kind of tide over just like Smash's life for a good long while, because with the DLC characters no longer coming out and kind of excitement kind of dimming down on it, maybe it's a way to just kind of keep it in the limelight again, keep people like thinking about it and it coming up more often, and keep people playing and purchasing it. Just a way to keep it in the news for a long while, I would assume, because I doubt we're going to get the next Smash game anytime soon.
Yeah.
The other big thing that's interesting here is that it involves Melee. So Smash Brothers Melee is the old game, and I presume, I don't go to the Smash tournaments, that they play emulated versions of it. I know Project M and all that kind of stuff is sometimes at some of these events and that kind of thing. I imagine that won't be involved in these. Not that they can't still be independent events that have them and that kind of thing.
I mean,
will they play on hardware? I don't know.
Vanilla Melee is at tournaments is usually played on hardware. Yeah.
But it's like Nintendo going to provide? Yeah, it's just kind of an interesting, I'd be interested to see how that all looks and works.
So you're saying like Nintendo's going to sponsor it, but how much activity will they have in the actual organization or development of the tournaments? Will they provide hardware or software or copies or controllers?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need to. They just need to give its blessing. You know what I mean? It's like all they need to do is not shut it down. And then that's like a Nintendo sponsored event. It's like, I think that this has probably been in the works for a while, and they just wanted this to be the only thing. Right. And then that's why they were going after other stuff. And that's why they were going after ones that had Project M or any of these mods. You know what I mean? I think they just wanted to be kind of the only game in town. And you can't necessarily blame them, but I mean, you can, because that's scummy. But it's like at least nice to see that they're doing something with it and not just shutting it all down, And I did see one conspiracy theory that I thought was pretty funny on Twitter, which was whenever Nick All-Stars dropped, they put out Sora, and then whenever this multiverses stuff came out, they were like, "Hey, we're partnering with tournaments," and they just keep overshadowing these Smash announcements. I don't think that that's it, but I do think it's funny timing.
Yeah, well, you brought up multiverses. Let's talk about that for a minute, right? This is the Warner Brothers Smash-like game that has been heavily rumored and leaked. But there's now an official announcement, and they put out a strangely long 2-minute video with the developer kind of explaining it, right, and showing off the 2v2 mode and focusing on that. I know, David, you really hate this game, so we'll give you a minute to rant about.
No, it's fine. You can keep talking. I mean, it's just I don't know.
Let's hear it, David. What's wrong?
It just looks like doo-doo trash to me. Mm-hmm. This game just looks bad. I think this game just it just looks visually bad. It looks like it's running really slowly. I don't know. I read an article today about what Nick and the Nick All-Stars and this game, they just start capturing what people love about Smash, and that's the heart and the soul and the love and the dedication. That's the ethereal shit. It's the Sakurai is the common element there, right? And it's like I don't know. They just kind of
characters.
They think it's the characters.
A love and dedication that you could feel in the essence of Smash, and whereas these other games are just kind of here's some characters we know you guys
yeah.
Don't you want to play with these guys?
It's got to start somewhere, I mean, you can't just write everything off. It's just I don't know. I just don't. This game isn't even coming to Switch. It's not been announced to be coming out to Switch at all. I just thought the gameplay looked bad. But it just looked like it looked like the whole thing was in slow motion, and I just didn't understand why everybody was flipping out about it. I just don't. If I see a Smash that looks good, I'll promise I'll be excited for it. I'm not. I haven't seen that yet.
It's the characters. I think that's why people get excited about it, because there's a ton of interesting, characters that people have associations with from all sorts of different things, and they're throwing them all together. But I'm with you that the gameplay itself and the visuals and the explanation didn't.
It's free to play. It's Battle Pass style,
I'm guessing that means you might not be able to get your favorite character without paying for them.
Yeah. Just looks like Brawlhalla, I played Brawlhalla once and I was like, I'm good. Cool.
And it's weird too when they kind of emphasize the whole Ultra Instinct Shaggy or whatever.
Yeah.
It's because when they're announcing the game, they were and we have Ultra Instinct Shaggy. Remember him? You guys like talked about him a lot, and like, so it kind of feels like they saw that meme and just like, we can make a game with that. Like, let's monetize that. And like,
And they're also like voice acting. We have voice acting, unlike some children's orange channels on TV.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. Is there anything else about multiplayer
I'm hopeful.
versus, Matthew?
I don't know. I'll play it. It's free. I don't know. It'll be fine. I think the right amount of skepticism is the way. David, I think you're right on. It's like, this is a copy. It feels like Nickelodeon was just an okay game. It was a solid C plus. That's fine. I loved playing it. I had good memories with those characters. I thought it was okay, good. It was fine. It's not great. It's never going to be Smash. I don't expect it to be Smash. It won't have Sakurai unless Sakurai moves over to Warner Brothers Games, which he won't. I don't expect him to. So my expectations are real low, but a healthy amount of skepticism, which I think, David, what you're saying is it doesn't pass the smell test because it looks like a copy paste of other Smash likes, and other licensed Smash likes have typically never been good. Not some other Smash likes like Brawlhalla has a really good following. It's a game. It's not for me, but people love it.
Rivals of Ether is the only one to get close so far, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for you, but that's not for everyone.
But it's for the real edges.
That doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. I'm starting a little spicy tonight, guys. I apologize.
Maybe this next bit of news is something David will like. Maybe not.
It's more cologne news. Is it cologne?
It's not more cologne news. It's Chrono Trigger news.
Yeah, okay.
It's a Chrono Trigger lubricant jelly.
What do you think that smells like? All right. So apparently, Square Enix is putting out a series of like albums, and in particular, there's a Chrono Trigger jazz arrangement album that's coming out in Japan. At least we know now. Maybe it'll come out worldwide, but I'm sure there'll be some way to get it coming out early next year. What do y'all think about this? Are you excited about jazz remixes of Chrono Trigger tracks?
Yes.
In a word, yes.
Plus, yes, 100%. Yeah. Make more Chrono Trigger content. Damn it. Square Enix.
They're making jazz albums.
Yeah,
I mean, this is not even like, I mean, there have been Chrono Trigger jazz albums before this as well. Like, there's, Chronology, a jazz tribute to Chrono Trigger, which is out. I feel like there was even one in the 90s that was like fusion jazz. Like, it was like 90, or no, maybe I'm thinking of F-Zero. There's definitely like a fusion jazz, like F-Zero album that's really good. But they do this kind of stuff in Japan all the time, and I'm really glad to see that this is happening.
So Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox, recently was doing an interview, and Xbox, Microsoft have kind of been the best in the console world, at least in terms of backwards compatibility and game preservation and that kind of thing. And he kind of made an interesting statement about how he thinks that, you would think that, having legal emulation, allowing modern hardware to run older games when possible and allow people to buy those games would be a great, he says, North Star for us as an industry. And that's been kind of making the rounds. And I don't think that's ever going to happen, but maybe. It's just kind of cool to see him say something like that. And I think, I don't know how an industry, wide emulator would work and if that's even possible, but Microsoft is leading the way in terms of making things available in multiple ways in multiple places and things. So,
yeah. I mean, game preservation is very important. It's nice to hear one of these guys talk about it. It's very opposed to what we heard from like Sony, where it's like, why would you play Gran Turismo 2? Just play Gran Turismo 7 or whatever, right? And so it's like, it's nice to hear somebody like that. I mean, I do think that he's saying this stuff to be a voice opposed to that, right? And I think that he's saying this because they're the only people doing back compat right now, and or at least at the scale that they're doing it. But also, didn't they recently say in their 20th anniversary thing that they're like not focusing on that anymore?
Yeah, they're not releasing any like big ones. Go ahead.
I think they like reached like the cap of like what they could do. Yeah.
But I mean,
that was my understanding too. Yeah.
But it's like a lot of licensing stuff, right? Because like you can't get Jet Set Radio Future, you can't get like all these games that you can emulate, So it's like it feels like it's a licensing issue. So it's like one hand I love hearing this stuff. The other hand I'm like, okay, but what? I mean, great, you're doing this, but like, if we're gonna have a big industry-wide thing, like you got to go all in on it. You got to like really put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, I think David, you said it well when like no one else is doing it at what Microsoft is doing for emulation or backwards compatibility. So like Phil Spencer can say this because no one else is doing it like them, and so they have no one to be like, no, we're doing it better in these ways. So they get to win this argument every time.
I would love to hear Phil Spencer be like, it's not on Xbox Live Arcade. Pirate it then. That's what I need to hear him say, basically. Until somebody says that, then I'm not going to like fully believe that he's like on the preserving game history side of things, rather than just trying to push more Xboxes. But now don't get me wrong. I'm a big Phil Spencer fan. I think his heart is in the right place, but show me what you're talking about.
I don't think he can say that though, right? Like, I think that's what he's trying to say is that well, he could, but like, all right, whatever.
If it's not available, no one's making money off of it. Just do it.
I think he's just
I'd love to hear him say that.
I got the impression he was kind of just sending out like trying to rally the troops kind of thing, where it's like, hey, industry as a whole, this is where my heart, my vision is at. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we kind of all gathered together and kind of followed in that trajectory as well? Like, we're kind of trying to do that, like, and it's working well. Like, you could do it too and follow with us and be just as successful, and people will benefit. And, it helps the consumer. It helps preservation, like you said, David. And so, I kind of felt like more of just like, he's trying to like set, like, I remember someone said like he's trying to set like a North Star, like for people to kind of follow. Like, hey, let's kind of all trying to head this direction. Not necessarily like, this is what we're doing as Microsoft, like the program. Like, it's more of just like, hey, I wish this could happen. Like, wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah, it would be great. And I really hope Nintendo going forward at least.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're doing something with Nintendo Switch Online. They were kind of the leaders of this whole thing with the virtual console and with, they used to have old consoles have the console literally built into it physically. So I'd love to see them get back to that.
Well, last bit of news we want to mention is that obviously this week is Thanksgiving week, and so there's going to be lots of sales and that sort of thing. But one to be aware of is that GameStop has a number of Nintendo first-party physical games for pretty cheap compared to probably all-time low for some games, at least physical, if not just period, probably for like Breath of the Wild and other really big first party games that
Splatoon,
now are getting older,
Fire Emblem, Astral Chain, they're all $27.
Yeah, it's pretty tempting if you're a physical collector or missing any of these games. So check it out. I think that does it, right?
Real quick shout out to Animal Crossing. Time travelers have found that this Black Friday within Animal Crossing, there is a Nook Friday going on where I think everything is like 33% off in Nook's Cranny. So keep an eye out for that if you're still playing Animal Crossing. That was an update 2.0 drop. Yeah.
Is that
nice?
Is that like sad? Is that weird? That like our like consumerist lifestyles like infecting this game? Like,
that is sad.
This game is about paying off your debt and like lease and shit. Like it is
like buying nice stuff for your house.
Yeah, this game is already there.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking all about achievements and whether or not Nintendo should add achievements to their systems. So we are back, and this week we are talking about all kinds of shit, apparently, but achievements.
Jingle all the way.
We are going to focus on achievements for the next while. So, Steven, you are here to talk to us about achievements. This was your idea. So props to you. Thanks for coming to us with this idea. I think everybody probably listening to this knows what achievements are, but just to be brief in case you don't, because maybe you're just a Nintendo gamer. You might not be super familiar with them. And I think achievements kind of probably go back way back into early video games, like truthfully, but like the sort of big burst came around like the Xbox 360, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gamer score, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when it became sort of a system-wide thing. At least it
Right.
might have been within games prior to that. You know, the idea of like high scores and stuff could arguably be like an achievement or something like that. But like, so this is where, you know, you get medals or trophies or what for doing different things in a game, and it shows up outside of the game as well. Though I guess, you know, there's an argument to be made about in-game achievements, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But sort of gamifying playing games is another way to think about it. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything I'm missing here in terms of just sort of big picture explanation of it or history of it that y'all want to make sure we hit on?
Yeah, I think like achievements are used as like fun bookmarks to remember your playthrough. So when you finish a level or beat a hard boss or hit a certain story beat or do something unique by engaging with the environment or finding a secret item, you'll get a notification that reminds you this thing that you did was thought about from the developers to give you a bookmark of this event inside of a game.
Mm-hmm. There seems to be kind of like two kind of types. There's kind of like your generic standard achievement, which is just like you did the thing that you were supposed to do. Like
start the game.
Yeah. You started the game, you beat level 1, you beat this boss, and like it's just kind of like if you hit certain goal lines in the game that you would otherwise do, you get an achievement for it. Or there's like the really cool, unique ones that aren't really done as much as often these days. They used to be more prevalent back in the day, but they're more unique where it's like a specific goal or a specific thing that you have to do that like isn't stated otherwise in the game. Like go do this thing like this quickly, or like unique challenges that kind of add more playtime to the game, like more things to do. So I feel like they kind of fall into kind of those two camps for the most part.
So like some achievements to kind of what you're talking about are hidden, right? Like if not all of them in certain systems, right? Like so that like you may not know you're getting an achievement until you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It depends. Like the developer has the ability to hide the description and make it a secret thing, but some games, or you can just go to the list and see all of them right there and just see like what the descriptions are, what you have to do to get them. But some, and very specifically for like story moments or spoiler centric things, like the developer will hide the description just to not spoil you or to make the challenge more interesting.
And there are also like I assume these people have given up at this point, but like early on, weren't there people who like this was their thing? Like
oh yeah,
achievement hunters, like get every achievement, you buy every Xbox game so that you can get every achievement on every game and have the perfect gamer score. Now probably not achievable, but
yeah, there's so yeah, back when it first started, there was a lot of people that went crazy, like kind of myself included. But there's some people who like dedicated like their gaming to this goal and this goal alone, to like I'm going to be the first person to reach this certain level, or I'm going to be the first person to reach this certain gamer score. And man, I just listened to an interview with this one guy who was like he reached some threshold. Apologies, I don't remember what it was, but it was like a million, let's say, like a million gamer score or something. He was like the first person to do it. And like they actually like brought him out on stage at some like Xbox event, and like he like unlocked his last achievement that he needed to reach that score. And like Phil Spencer was there. It was like a big deal. And I mean, this was a couple years ago. And the interview was kind of talking with this guy and like how, once he reached that threshold, he kind of lost kind of like the mojo. And, like, he's like, I did my thing, I did my duty. Like I'm probably
he gave up
now.
Gaming.
It was more like, because like he was talking about like back then he would, like people who are really into it will buy games that they know they can beat in like 5 minutes and get like 1,000 achievements. Or like on PlayStation there's a bunch of like shovelware that's like, it's just you could spam through like the talking games, I forget what they're called, where it's just like a bunch of dialogue and you can just like skip through it real quick. Like people just buy those just so they can get like a platinum trophy.
Whoa.
So like, some people are super hardcore into it, and it's really fascinating to kind of like hear about that and like talk to some people. Like one of my friends on PlayStation is like really into it, and he has all these like on PlayStation they have like different tiers of trophies. So there's like platinum, that means you 100%ed the list.
Okay.
Then there's like gold, I think is next, which is like a specific level of rarity or difficulty for that specific trophy. And then silver is more common, and then bronze is your standard fare, which is like you just played the game like you normally would. Go
They
ahead.
also make achievements. I feel like these are addicting, and like right, like that's kind of or like they can create an addiction in people. And one of the ways they do that too is that a lot of them display the percentage of
Yeah.
people who have reached that achievement. So like, yeah, the one that says like fire up the game for the first time, like everybody that's played the game has that one. But then the
Yeah.
further you go, it's like it makes you feel like, oh, I'm one of the elite.
Mhm.
who
For
is-
sure.
Yeah, and
It's-
that's kind of what I view achievements as. Like I know Matt, you were talking about viewing them as bookmarks, and I've always viewed achievements as like throwing the completionists a bone, right? Giving them something to like work for beyond just like seeing that 100% on your thing. It's like once you've like, it's like extra little things to tick off, right?
Mhm.
I feel like that. It's like squeezing the most value out of the game as you could possibly have. I feel like that's not always what achievements are. They can be a lot of different things, but that's like one big element is for completionists, right?
For sure. No, I think that's a really good point, because I specifically like would run into that like when I was younger, specifically like in the 360 era, when I didn't have like a lot of money, and like my parents weren't able to give me a lot of games. So achievements were a way to really extend the life of a game for me. Like they would create new unique challenges for me to go seek out, and it gave me the ability to like keep playing something maybe I normally would have just put down if I finished it. Like, oh, I beat the story, I'm good. But if there's like other stuff to do, like, hey, I'll keep playing. Like I don't have anything else to play.
Right.
So it does have a really good ability, I think, to extend the lifestyle of something, especially for people who don't have the ability or resources to go get just another game at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, that's funny, because we were talking about how achievement systems can incentivize some people to buy extra games, and then they can incentivize people who can't buy extra games to like play them to the max. Like, that's a nice little contrast there.
I think
and
the intentions that the developers have for all of these achievements is like fascinating, because they have different intentions, whether it be extending the life of a game or having people spend more money. Some people are just motivated by bragging rights, where they are not completionists to like check off a box, but they want to say they are the first person to do something, the first person to 100% platinum on, I don't know, Super Rub-a-Dub, a PlayStation game. They want to brag. There's the Bartles player types, which talks about player motivation and how you incentivize players. And I think achievements are the interesting mix of they hit different audiences, and they can give different types of people different things. I'm not motivated by completion. I'm not a completionist at all. I won't do it. If it takes more time than I want to spend, I won't do it. But I will say, when a game gives me an achievement that's rare, Xbox has this like diamond animation. It's a really satisfying sound, really satisfying click.
I think I just saw a Pavlovian response from you, Steven. His mouth was watering.
That's when the dopamine hits.
With that sound associated, usually when I play a lot of Halo, it's associated with skill. That's positive reinforcement that I want to continue to play the game, because it tells me, hey, you're good at the game. So I feel more inclined to spend more time in it.
Yeah. Like it does trigger, like if you have this type of personality, it triggers like a kind of natural response to be like, oh, hey, I did something. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I accomplished something. And like, and it also, like, if you like making lists or spreadsheets or anything like that, or like having a to-do list, which I love. Like having a list for a game, it's like, oh yeah, check that off. Oh yeah,
Right.
check that off. And then when you finish all of them, you're like, delete that game. I'm done with you forever. It feels good. And it's just like a very, I don't know, it's dumb. I know it's really dumb, but it's just so satisfying and it just feels good. And also like, side tangent, but it's also like a cool way. I think Matthew, you were talking about with like the percentages, or maybe I don't remember who mentioned that, but like that's a cool way for developers too to kind of see like how many people are getting far in my game,
Right.
or like how many people are actually getting to the end, and like it's fascinating to see those things, like those percentages. Like I remember I saw a few articles talking about this, how like the majority of gamers like don't even finish the game that they play because you could see the percentages.
The majority of gamers don't play more than a couple of hours of every
Right.
game. You know, yeah, like the numbers are staggeringly low for that. Yeah.
Well, like we're kind of doing this right now, and especially Steven, you're showing your enthusiasm for this. But like, I'd love to hear from you, Steven, if there are any individual things that happened in achievements or any notable times. But I also like to know what Matthew, you were kind of hinting that you're not this kind of player. What do y'all think about achievements, David and Matthew? And I'll give my thoughts as well.
Well, can I just say something really quickly about like just a couple things that were touched on here, and it's like first of all the bragging rights, right? I think Matt, you were saying that, where it's like the whole idea of the gamer score and like and it doesn't really mean anything. Like it doesn't get you discounts on the fucking Xbox Live Store, does it? Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so.
It gets you up on stage with Phil Spencer if you're the one guy who got 1 million gamer score or whatever.
It's like somewhat related, but like Xbox does have a like side thing. It's called like Xbox Rewards.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of achievement related, but that does give you physical rewards or like digital rewards.
Okay. Well, so there's stuff like that, and I know like with Game Pass, it's like you opened a Game Pass game. It's like not even in a game you're getting achievements. You know what I mean? But it's like, but all of that to basically say that's like a modern evolution of being on the fucking playground and being like, hey, I caught all 150 Pokemon, and all your friends being like, you're the coolest in the world. You know what I mean? And it's like just a way to put that into a system, right? And so I think that is something, and that's the reason that I think we saw this starting to come up around the Xbox 360 era, is because it's an evolution of that stuff that had already been a part of games for a while. So I find that kind of interesting. And then something else that we were just talking about with like the gamification of gaming in a way, and it's like it is 100% just dopamine receptor shit. It's like base level rewards, Pavlov's shit, right? Like we were talking before we recorded the podcast, but Steven, you and I both used to work in e-learning, and that's a huge part of e-learning and the idea of learning video games. It's like just little rewards along the way, like little drip feeds, and you see the same thing in mobile gaming. You see the same thing like in something like Shin Megami Tensei 5. Like that doesn't have any achievements really per se, but it's constantly rewarding you and giving you little reasons to keep going. Forza Horizon is another great example of that, where it's just like every second you've got some stat boosting or you've got something popping up or whatever, and it's just this like constant like it's just like validating for someone, right? And it's like, and I've been a teacher before, and it's the same kind of concepts you do in teaching. It's like, if you want somebody to like learn your game and learn the concepts, you just drip feed them praise, and so that, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, and especially for gamers that are like, aren't going to like complete like maybe the very end of the game or the biggest challenges of the game, having stuff that they can achieve to get there will make it to where they're that much more likely to get to that final challenge, because they've been built up throughout their gaming experience. So I think that's something that's good about achievements. That's what I like about them. But it's another one of those things. It's like Reddit karma. It's like Reddit karma doesn't mean anything, but people really want it, So it's one of those things, I think.
Yeah. I think it also gives like a really cool glimpse into someone's play style. Like, I don't know, like if y'all like, do y'all ever go on like the Switch and like go to your friends list and just kind of look at like what are your friends playing, like
Mhm.
all the
Every
time.
day.
how
Yeah.
much
Every
are, like
day, yeah.
Always.
but like what kind of games are they playing? So like I love doing that. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just like see like, oh, is this person keeping up with the latest release? Like how much of the game are they playing? Oh,
How
they're
many
really into this one.
hours? Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
remember one of the first conversations I had with David was like, yo, I saw your hours on Binding of Isaac on Switch. You're like 900 hours. Like what are you doing?
Okay, not
Like-
that much on Switch, but it was
It was
more
a
than
lot.
that on PC.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, but so the thing that I love about achievements that I wish Nintendo had is that it doesn't give you more than that. It's like on Nintendo, it just has the hours and that's it. So like I want to know, like I want to go to a friends list and be like, they have a lot of hours on Breath of the Wild, but like what did they do? Like did they get all the Korok seeds?
Right.
Did they go
Mhm.
do all the quests? Did they get all the shrines? Like achievements gives you that glimpse and to be like, this is what that person did. This is what they went for. This is how much they completed it. It's like they didn't just like spend all their time grinding on something and like just skipped all this other stuff.
I love
Like you
that.
could really see like what they're doing, and I think that's fascinating. I just love like going to my friends list and just like, oh man, they really liked this game. They 100%ed it, or oh they didn't like this one. Like you could tell it dropped off like an hour into it.
It's the
it's
social,
just-
the social element of it is
Mhm.
what you're,
Mhm.
what you're
Yeah,
wanting.
I
Yeah.
feel like it adds a lot, and it's just something I love to do. Like obviously you could tell. I don't know why. It's just like it just stirs something in me that I just love to creep, and maybe it's the lurker in me. I like to be
Yeah.
silent and just kind of like, what are people doing? Like what
A
are they
prolific
into?
lurker. Yeah.
I think it's interesting though, because we're spending all this time in these worlds getting these achievements, but like I don't talk about the achievements.
Mhm.
I don't know the last time we have an episode dedicated to talking about achievements, but I was like, I unlocked this achievement on Halo Infinite after doing a ninja. Have you done that? Like I don't have achievement related conversations with
Mhm.
people, but I do look at people's achievements via their profile on their online gaming page. So I'm
Mhm.
secretly lurking on people to learn about their play style, but not actually having a conversation about what their play style is. But it might be this data that I'm learning about a person might influence the future conversations, which I think, Stephen, kind of what you're saying. And I never thought about it that way, but I do the same thing to learn about what my friends are playing.
Well, I mean, it would also fill a hole for Nintendo that they desperately kind of need filled right now. Which is a hole left behind by Miiverse, by a lot of these social features that they had in previous consoles. If they're not gonna do party systems and chats and stuff like that, this would at least kind of bring a little bit of that social element back to gaming. And they've done that a little bit recently. Like they added that trending tab on the Switch, which is cool.
I look
but it's,
at every once in a while. For the
Yeah, I
same
do
reason
too.
of creeping on individuals, it's kind of like creeping on your whole friends.
yeah, it's like creeping, but it's curated. It's like curated creepiness, curated stalking. Let's call it that. But it's like you're right. I mean, I think that this would be a huge thing because like we're at a situation right now with Nintendo where it's like games don't. It's not like they strip achievements out of games when they're ported to the Switch. They just are in the
Not
game and that's it.
System-wide,
Yeah, they're not system wide, and so it's like so I love in games when I can see like, oh, okay, like let's take Monkey Ball for instance, right? Like when I can see like who I'm faster than on my friends list. Now nobody fucking plays that game with me, which is really sad, and I don't really get to use it that often. But it's like when I do, I'm like, hell yeah, I get to like now immediately try to one up you or get to this thing before you. And I think it might not be like a totally conscious decision, but I do think it's something that would increase that community feeling within the game community in the Switch community, right?
Mhm.
And so I do think that would be, I've heard arguments as to like why that should be brought in to Nintendo's infrastructure in the past, but that one actually like rings really true to me hearing you say that.
Yeah, and
agree.
I've heard people say that like, oh, that kind of system isn't very Nintendo, and like I totally get that. Like there are a lot of not issues, but just like weirdness with achievements. Like they'll pop up like during a cutscene or something, you're like, get out of here. Like, I don't want to be watching.
Yeah, I'm trying to be immersed.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
turn them off, but like,
Yeah.
or like, a lot of people just ignore them, and that's fine. And it could feel kind of weird, like their inclusion if like a developer just kind of slaps them in, and I don't know. But I could see Nintendo doing something really cool with them, and like maybe bringing back Club Nintendo rewards with like, hey, you're like really up there, and like with your points, like here's a reward, and like, or with the Miiverse thing, like have some kind of cool like way to show off your stuff. Like maybe like instead of achievements, like just a number, maybe you get like a cool little like trophy thing that you could put like next to your character. I don't know, like just a cool way to display like what you've done. And
Power stars.
Yeah,
just call them power stars. Nintendo, call it a day.
Like I feel like they could do, like, Nintendo being Nintendo and how clever they are sometimes. Like I feel like they can really bring something unique to the table when it comes to that. And now that they have their whole like Nintendo online infrastructure, they're kind of building that out more. It seems like they're trying to put more of a emphasis on that. I'm just hoping for some little morsel of like, come on, give me a sign that you're going to be working on this someday. Like there was some rumor like a long time ago that I forgot who said it, but they got some quote from some Nintendo developer. They're just like, oh, we got something in the works for pro gamers out there. Like y'all better be like watching for this update. And I don't know, for whatever reason, a lot of people thought that'd be achievements at the time, but
it was the Happy Home Paradise DLC for Animal Crossing is what they were referring to.
Yeah, one data point that I would like to see is what happened with on Discord with Metroid Dread, which was after a few weeks, people were sharing what their playtime was. I would love to go back and see what everyone's playtime was on a particular game. Metroid Dread were like, we beat it in these many hours. Just like a data point that we can use to compare our experiences about playing the game. This can be an achievement, or just having more data about how we spend time in these worlds.
Mm-hmm. For sure, because I do like to look at people's Switch profiles to see their time history, but I also fully recognize, especially now, that those numbers are skewed because a lot of us have switched to OLEDs, and Nintendo's system is fucked. And like, if you play on more than one system, it doesn't add. It's not additive. You have to like get back up to that number.
I've apparently played 3 hours of Smash Brothers Ultimate, according to my Nintendo OLED right now.
Yeah, so it'll either have the number from your old system if it's still on your top 20 or whatever, or if it had fallen off and you start playing it, it'll have the new number. And so like it's annoying that is the case, and that's the closest thing we have, and it's jacked. Like, you can't even use it. You have also, your enthusiasm, Steven, has swayed me. I think I came into this feeling like nah, I don't really need achievements. And then you've made some really good points. Maybe we can talk about the arguments for and against. We've already done quite a bit, and you've kind of hit some of the big ones, and you've convinced me already.
All right, good to hear.
But like, sometimes you'll hear the arguments against. You laid out a few of them, but like another one would be that like they're required, or they were required, and so developers are spending time doing something that they might not want to do, or that might take away from other. And I think that's a decent argument against them, right? Like, not every game should have to have achievements, but they did, at least historically, if not still do, right, on some platforms.
Yeah, I don't think you can opt out, as far as I know.
Yeah, you have to have achievements in a game, so they have to be designed with some intention.
Even if they're kind of slapdash.
Wait, so every game like released on like Xbox, for example, has to have achievements?
Yes, I can say with certainty, definitely Xbox. I can't say how Sony is, but
I know it used to be.
similar.
And then if you're gonna make it for one and you're gonna be on multiple, you probably just copy paste them. But like,
I don't like that. I don't think that they should be required. I feel like most people would want to do them, but I don't think that you need.
Yeah, because that might not be. That might take away from the way some developer wants to make a game.
Like, what achievement would there be for AAA Clock? Which I bought for my Nintendo Switch OLED.
Fire up the clock. It was midnight.
Yeah.
Like, give me some time. I'll come up with a few.
Yeah. Yeah, you made a joke
This
right
is
there.
Patrick's job, right? Yeah.
You said, give me some time when we're talking about the clock app. Just want to say I appreciate your joke.
Anyway, so I don't know, what other arguments do you hear against them that maybe it's playing with people's addictiveness, or that it's exploitative of the, I mean,
Yeah, what's the idea of like web? There's like dark web design, which like capture your attention and try to keep your attention as long as possible. I think there's some intentions of like to bring you into the world to like drip feed the dopamine, and then at the end they ask you for money.
As David pointed out, the game is doing that already. Like, right? Like,
Yeah,
good,
it's
good
the
game
intention.
design is kind of already doing
The
that
intention
to you.
is doing it with nefarious purpose of, hey, we are doing this to make money in the end, which is true. But there are more nefarious companies or dark web designs that try to take advantage of people.
You know what I think this is I think that this is a holdover from the Iwata Wii era of Nintendo, where Nintendo games would actively be like every 30 minutes it'd be like, hey, fat ass, stand up, go outside.
Yeah.
Like, stop playing. You know what I mean? Like, I think like Iwata was so into this idea of wellness and blue ocean and all this kind of stuff, and being like, hey, we don't want to be like everybody else. We want people to like stretch and save their eyes and whatever. And I think that Iwata probably was like, fuck that. No, we don't want to like make people like glued to their TVs. Like, you know what I mean? He had that weird kind of mindset. So I'm wondering if now Nintendo like is ready to change on the Furukawa age of the current Nintendo leadership, right?
Well, you know what's weird to me in talking about this, and the more I'm sitting here thinking about it, is because I have this note on here to mention that, individual Nintendo games have achievements. And the more
Right.
I'm sitting here thinking about it, like almost all of them do.
Mm-hmm.
Like within the game, there are that, like I was thinking about, like the first ones that came to mind is Pikmin 3, because I play that a lot with my son, and achievements
Odyssey.
pop up.
Mhm.
And then I was thinking Smash Ultimate, and there's like Animal Crossing New Horizons, and there's like Paper Mario Origami King has it. Odyssey has it.
They
Breath
Toadette
of
gives
the
you power
Wild.
stars.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are meters and percentages and things that pop up, and in almost all of the major, like ARMS, another game I played a lot of, has this badges system, where you get a badge. It's just an achievement when you do weird different things.
Right.
So like, why are these so prevalent in Nintendo games, but locked to just you? Is now because you've sold me on the social aspect of it, Steven.
Yeah, and I think, it is interesting, because I feel like those things, like you said, have always existed in Switch games, but also, I mean, it's kind of just an extension of like a high score in a game,
Which I think achievements are too, right? Like,
yeah,
kind
and
of.
so I feel like Nintendo specifically has like just renamed maybe what they've already had. Like they've had challenges in games, they've had special things you can do in games, like most games do. But I feel like, like recently I've noticed that too, where I feel like they've changed it. They've changed that lingo, that word, to be achievements, to kind of fall in line with everything else. But yeah, it's still kind of missing that. It doesn't feel, to me, at least for someone who does like achievements a lot and who like seeks them out and who will play a game more just to get them, I feel like it doesn't feel as special to me. It just feels like it's just a part of the game. And
Right.
I won't go out of my way to seek out those type of challenges or achievements. For some reason, I care more about the account type achievements. And I think for me, it's because it's like I'm building into my persona of like, this is my gaming account. This is like, here's my history. Here's my.
That's why people don't like to buy games on PC when they're not on Steam.
Yeah,
because they just want to see their Steam library get bigger and bigger and bigger. Right? Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I feel that way, but because I play so much Switch, I feel that way. Like I want to. That's why I'm like upset that between my OLED and my Lite and my regular Switch, like I can't have these hours translate, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
there's just so many little tiny benefits I find. Like I just thought of like, like say you played a game a long time ago and you kind of forget, like, did I finish that? Like, or did I complete everything. Like instead of having to load up the game and like figure it out or install it again, like and dig all through that nonsense, you just go to your account and be like, oh yeah, I got some stuff missing here. Like I'll go back and play it. Like I don't know, it's just like little tiny things here and there. It's like, hey, like that's I feel like this is improving like kind of general flow of my gaming state. And
It's a diary. You
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can go
yeah.
back. I can on Xbox. I can go back
Mhm.
and see that I played Perfect Dark Zero for like 4 hours.
Mhm.
Oh, I played it with these two friends, and it compares
Mhm.
Xbox friends that I never met before. But I played Perfect Dark with them, and so I can go through the years of all the games that I played through all the Xbox 360 onwards, and I have a diary of the
Mhm.
games that I've played.
Yes.
And it does the hard work for me by telling the
Mhm.
story.
Yeah, like that's exactly why I feel like it's really special in a way, because it is like kind of like a memory book, kind of a scrapbook of your gaming history. Of like as long as you haven't changed accounts or done anything, and you just keep the same one, you can go back like 10 years ago and be like, man, like look at like you can see what you were playing at the time. It'll bring up memories of what you were doing, and
Mhm.
yeah, bring up memories with friends. Like so you just popped in a game one time at a friend's house, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like that was a good time. And especially with Nintendo, like everyone has like those amazing like memories that you have of, like the old
Mhm.
consoles. And I wish like say they had implemented something like this back in like the Wii era. And so then you get like the DS and the 3DS, and then you get your Wii U and your Switch. And like imagine if you could go back through that whole catalog and be like, man, look at that big long journey that I've done. And like that's just such a
Yeah.
fun thing. Like
Uh,
it's silly. Like it doesn't matter, but it's a fun thing to just
No,
like
a
go back and
scrapbook is
look.
a really great way to refer to it. And I think
Mhm.
that, like, if you're trying to pitch this to Nintendo, that's the word you use, right?
Yeah.
Because I think they're already doing shit like that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
like Pikmin Bloom, I've been playing that a lot recently. That comes to mind. It's like every day it like has you put a picture that you also took on your
Mm.
phone on that day, like in on the thing. And it's like, and it also, something I like about that, this is going off the rails, but it also like tells you, it's like, it asks, did you have a bad day, a mad day, or a good day? And I was actually talking to my therapist right now. Everybody go to therapy. It's very helpful for your life. And I was like, man, I think like Pikmin Bloom is actually helping me just by like being able to look back on my days and see which ones were not great, which ones were just okay, and which ones were good, and realize like, oh, I have
Think
a pretty
about
good
why.
life. Yeah,
Or-
you think about why. Yeah,
Well,
because
yeah,
I'm
like,
too
I had
lazy
a
to write a
couple-
diary. I'm not going to write a diary. It's not like my bag. But Pikmin Bloom has kind of like become my diary in a weird way.
No, I
It's
hear
just
you. Like, I
and
had a few-
achievements can do that same thing.
I had a
Sorry.
few mad days in a row, and I was like, you know why? Oh, I know why. And I'm not going to talk about it here, but like, like I was able to have a little mental insight. Into
Yeah, just a
it.
little bit of thoughtfulness, right? A little bit of introspection. Yeah.
That's
Maybe
super
we're
cool.
making achievements out to be more than they are.
It's
Or
like
replace
therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why go to therapy if you could just have a gamer score? Platinum points.
Heals all wounds.
This has been a really great talk. Yeah, like one thing we haven't really talked about, but we're kind of hinting at, and Steven, you've kind of mentioned, is like Nintendo could do cool stuff with achievements. What do you think that would look like? What could Nintendo do that's different or unique? I mean, other than providing that scrap, or would it be that scrapbook kind of thing we're talking about? Do you think, would it be like a more playful, fun thing than like a score, maybe, like, or something? Anybody have
Yeah.
any thoughts?
Well, I think they need to tie it into My Nintendo. Because they got rid of Club Nintendo, right? And it's now My Nintendo. It's my.nintendo.com, right? And that's already great. Like you go to that thing every day, you can click on it and get platinum points, you can turn those in for rewards or whatever, right? So we have Nintendo profiles now, which didn't used to be a thing, and they folded it all into one thing. So you just start there, right? And have it built into your infrastructure. And now that infrastructure is used every time there's a new mobile app, Pikmin Bloom uses it, all this stuff uses it. It's now between systems, right? And not only that, we know they're tracking playtime past what we see on our Switch consoles, right? They've got a lot of data for which they can start as a base for this achievement system. So I think from here, you just have to add in, obviously developers would have to opt in and be like whenever they added video recording to the capture button on the Switch, like it was like a year in they added that, or like 6 months in to the Switch's life they added that. If developers wanted it, they had to go back and patch it into their games, right? That's fine. you have to. That's going to be a thing. There's going to be a little bit of a period of time where there are just going to be a lot of games that don't have them. And that's going to suck. But whatever, just start. And put it into that system that already exists and use that as the bedrock, and then kind of move forward. That's like the first steps, I think.
I think it would be cool if they did something a little different than like some of the other systems, and it's not like they're all the same. Like, not requiring developers to do it in the same way. And I don't have this is sort of an amorphous, vague, abstract idea, but like maybe it looks different in different games, if that makes sense. So it's like kind of like what you were talking about, like creeping on people. Maybe you can just see how many Koroks somebody got, and that's the only thing that's the only achievement type thing from this game or whatever. And then in this other game, you can see a list of something that's more like a traditional achievements or something like that. Because I feel like that might be a little more loosey-goosey, silly Nintendo-y or something,
Maybe for the first party games,
I think anytime we're talking about this, I'm generally scared and fearful of big data. Data generally scares the shit out of me, and where our data comes from. With that being said, this is a fun idea, so let's speculate. I would love to have data points roll up to larger categories. So like I'm spending time in Breath of the Wild, I'm spending time in Breath of the Wild 2 that comes out. What if it gave us an aggregate time of I spent these many hours on the Legend of Zelda series? Yeah. And I can share that with my friends. And Patrick, you were saying like, what if the achievements, Xbox has a uniform achievements. It looks the same for every game. What if the achievements could be modified based on the animation to be part of the world that the game you're playing? Maybe it's a Mario based achievement with a cool animation and Mario sounds, or a Zelda or a F-Zero.
Yeah. Yeah. And like what you were just saying, Matthew, too, reminds me of that thing that Nintendo now does at the end of the year, and Spotify does in plenty of places.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah. You like, what if it was a little bit related to that? Like, yeah, you spent this much time. And also this ties into Steven's idea about if it went way back to like see how much, time you've spent in Mario games or whatever.
It'd be cool. It'd be fun.
And it's funny because like now that I think about it, I totally forgot that Xbox did give rewards out for some achievements. Like you would get back when they did the avatar things, like which they still have, but they don't really use or implement. They're just kind of there. They just ignore them. But you would get like costumes and like cool little outfits, and like they would come with the achievements. And they even did wallpapers. Like you would get certain achievements, you get a unique wallpaper that you can use.
So like, you're saying is Nintendo needs to do themes before they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, they have Mii's. They still have Mii's. Like what if you could unlock like cool costumes? Like you could get a Master Sword or like a Link cap. Or, I don't know. Like you could do cool stuff. Like
sign me up, fam, dude. I'm fucking ready.
Like it's Nintendo. They have good ideas. Like every person or every company that's implemented this system has done something slightly different. Like Xbox was the first one who did it. They kind of set the standard. Sony was like, oh, I'm going to copy that. That's a cool thing. But they did the trophy system, which is like there's different tiers. There's different levels of rarity. Platinum being the most prestigious. And if you see someone with a lot of platinums, it's like a big deal. Like they've completed a lot of games. And Steam is, I don't know, it's just kind of Steam. Like they just,
I don't know. Steam kind of evolved it. I mean, Steam, really? I think, took the idea of achievements and stuff like that. And then I think that's what they then built like trading cards on.
Oh, yeah.
And like trading items and shit like that, and all this other social element. I feel like Steam I think Steam actually took achievement stuff to the next level in a way. And I think they turned it into something that it almost into like a Miiverse type thing, right? Like,
you can use the Steam to customize your profile. Like I have a custom frame around my Steam profile, and I have like a wallpaper from an achievement that I got from a previous game. I had no idea these existed until like last summer when I had free time. I was like, oh, what achievements do I got? And it gave me all these cool customizations.
Yeah, now I'm just like envisioning a world where they bring back Miiverse or something.
Oh God, I want it so bad.
Don't you dare! Don't say that to David. He will come in his pants.
I've been coming this whole episode.
Or Street Pass. Street Pass was incredible. But they bring that back. And they implement some kind of system like this, and then they attach like rewards, like cosmetic rewards, and then you can strut around with like your cool gear, and then everyone knows like you did the cool thing in that one game, and like I don't know, it's just it's a
I
cool
just
way.
think I just can't shake the idea that that's what that stuff was for Nintendo. Like we had it, and in a way, it wasn't achievements like everybody else was doing, but you're talking about Nintendo doing their own spin on it. Like that's what they were doing. They did Miiverse, they did Street Pass, they did all this stuff that was like no one else was doing, and that was the Iwata era, right? Like that was the whole like we want to innovate, we want to make these things social, but we want to do it in our own way. And I think now it just is the time to just suck it up and just follow everybody else instead of being a leader. You know what I mean? Because Nintendo are the people that innovate, and then everybody kind of copies them a lot of the time, right? I mean, not everything, like nobody else really did Street Pass, but everybody did fucking motion controls after Nintendo did it, right? And so it's like they just need to like get with the program right now. And I think that they're slowly trying to do that, but I just can't shake that. Again, this once again comes down to a difference between NCL, Nintendo of Japan, and Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Europe, right? And it's just like they are so stubborn in doing their own thing and stuck in these weird ways. And then when they do want to do stuff, it takes them fucking forever to get back on their level, right? And so it's like we really need someone at Nintendo, and I think what we really need is somebody at like Nintendo of America, right? Who's gonna like push NCL to really be like, hey, look, guys, yeah, you're a Japanese company. Yeah, you've been around for over 100 years. I get why you're being so stubborn right now, but it's like very important that you understand that the majority of our market share is in the United States and is a Western audience and is with a group of people that have now grown up with Microsoft and grown up with Sony and grown up with achievements. And so it's like getting that shit on the same page, or at least a modicum of that, I think is very important.
Hear, hear.
Yes, didn't mean to be so impassioned about that.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I think we should wrap this up and move on. Is there anything else about achievements generally, or Nintendo doing achievements, or the Switch era that we want to talk about?
I can't stop thinking about a scrapbook. I think I would love to have if Nintendo had this data about me as a player playing through Wii, going back, I don't know how many years to see how many hours that I spent in a particular game in a specific world at a particular time. I would love to look back. Now I all have false memories in my brain.
Those memories were real. They just weren't documented on a server somewhere.
Well, I need my data somewhere, David.
Yeah, Nintendo, you should bring achievements. Like I will go back and play the games that I've dropped off of, and like adding a system like this will make me go back and play more of those games, and make me buy more games on the Switch. Like I know that achievements aren't for everyone, and that's totally fine. Like it's not a big deal at all. But I do think for the community that are into them, like it would really bring more interest. Like because there are some people that are like really into them, and like I know like for me and for a lot of people that are into them, like they will not buy a game on the Switch because they can buy it somewhere else that has achievements. Because, and it's a dumb thing, and it's just a weird mental thing, but just being able to like add that to your like library in your like account and like keep adding to your score that way, it's like if I can't do that over here, like I'm gonna do it over there. But like for me, like if you add that system to the Switch, I will play it so much more than I already do. And I would buy more games on there than I already do. And that's why it's like, for me, it's like, I get the reasons why you don't do it, but I also like feel like they're kind of losing money in a way by not doing it. Like, I know it takes money and it takes a lot of time to figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
But I think, David, like you said, once you just start, once you get it going, I feel like it would attract some people that aren't in your pool, that aren't in their audience right now. And I don't know if they want those people. Like, I don't know. Like,
maybe not.
Like maybe they don't, and that's fine. Like it's fine. Like Nintendo will still make incredible games, and I'll still play them. But I still wish there was that system. And I
think it would be attractive for third parties too, importing their games, because they wouldn't have to build in achievements into their games that might not have them like in game. It's like, hey, I've got this game across platform. I could just move all my achievements over. Great. I don't even have to worry about it. You know what I mean?
I don't know how all that they must like Sony and Xbox must have it in a way to where it's like easy, because like a third party game can have their achievement list and they don't have to, as far as I know, they don't have to like alter it to ship it to the different games, because it's just the same list. And so like they're all ready to go. Like they have their list already. It's there.
Exactly.
Like, they just gotta turn it. I know it's not simple. It's just turn it in.
You grab it and you slap
it. Grab it and slap it. Yeah.
But like
we're all saying
they're already good, but like it's just the Nintendo games that need them. And like maybe like, you know, changing those in-game challenges, changing that word to achievements, like maybe they're kind of testing the waters. I don't know. I don't even know if they can track that kind of thing, because it's not like tied to anything. Like they would have to look at your save data, I guess, to find out if you're doing those challenges.
Oh, how hard that must be.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
They got a captive audience. That data
they're
has
in
to
the
be there
cloud.
somewhere. Yeah.
They've got
That's
32
true.
million
That's true.
NSO subscribers. All that data's in the cloud, ripe for them to just cherry pick through.
I know for our podcast listeners, David pointed to the sky.
The cloud. It's above us.
Which is very funny.
Like I'm assuming y'all aren't as into it as I am. It kind of seems that way. But like, do you have any like memories of like maybe back in the day if you were like into them at the time, or maybe you got like a specific achievement or you sought one out specifically?
Well, I'll tell you my favorite achievement, which is from friend of the show Davey Redden's game, The Stanley Parable, which is you don't play the game for 5 years. And then you get an achievement when you boot it up again after having not played it. I think the achievement is called Go Outside. And it's like you don't boot it up for 5 years. And then if you play it after a 5-year break, then you get that achievement.
Dude, that's so fun.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Like imagine like going to your friend's list and seeing that. It's like that guy did that thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think 5 years have passed since I played that game. So it's about time for me to boot that up again.
That's fascinating.
What David just said, I was reading about achievements in advance of this, and apparently there's some sort of Flash game that was called Achievement Unlocked that was totally based on stuff like that. Like the whole idea of the game, there's nothing to do in the game except achievements, and it's like it was entirely built around that idea of like move left is an achievement, move right,
oh my
like
gosh,
touch this square, that kind of thing. And like there's 100 achievements in the game, and that's it. And I thought that was really fascinating.
Crazy. Yeah. I remember there's a lot of games like that, and I remember, I mean, that's pretty egregious, but I remember like back in the day, there was an Avatar game that, like the Nickelodeon show, that was like the go-to game. Like if you saw that pop up in someone's list, you knew that they were really into achievements, because it's a game you could pop all of them in within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I had a friend back in the day, in the early 360 days, that he was really into achievements as well, and we would kind of like challenge each other. That's another fun thing. It brings in that social aspect. And like whenever he would bump up higher than me, he'd like send me a little message. He's like, "Hey, check my score." Like, and he would do games. He would pick up those games, like the really cheap games that you could just pop a 1,000 game score really easy. And like, but I was stubborn. It's like, I'm not going down that road. Like I'm gonna take the high road.
Yeah,
like,
be the bigger man.
And I will say that I have surpassed him, and he is far sunken below.
Oh, who's the bigger man now?
I've only 100%ed 2 games, and both of them are Spider-Man. Spider-Man on PlayStation and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Nice.
The achievements were easy to get, and they weren't egregious, and respected my time. And I really swinging around as Spider-Man is so fucking tight.
Oh yeah,
it's so fun.
When you have to play through it twice in Miles Morales to get that platinum, right? Because you have to do like a new game plus.
You did that. I don't know if I did that. Well, I 100%ed the game.
Called out live on the show.
Yeah. I guess I 100% of the game. That might be actually different from getting all the achievements.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's true. And then I'm a fucking liar. How dare you call me out live on my own podcast, Steven?
No, but that's like an interesting, like,
I don't know. I 100%
You can tell I know like what that list is.
Yeah, right.
Because I've done it.
It's like an interesting dynamic, though, right? Like there's 100%ing a game, and then there's 100%ing the achievements. Is that the same thing? Is that different? You know,
they're different.
It is for like Binding of Isaac, man. That Binding of Isaac 100% achievement was fucking hard, man. But I did that on PC. Not on this new DLC. I'm sure there's a shit ton. But then again, I'm on the Switch, so like, who fucking cares? It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, we should move on. We've had a lot of final thoughts there.
Yeah, I've got another one, but I'll save it. It's a long episode. We'll talk more about this in the Discord.
Yeah, this is really great. So we're gonna take another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the games we've been playing recently. So this week, I haven't played anything new. I've been just playing more of the same things, but I feel like I'm playing. I guess I did play some Halo Infinite. I should say that. But I feel like I'm just really enjoying the games I'm playing right now. I feel like I'm playing about 4 or 5 games, and they're all scratching different itches and like whatever I'm in the mood for. Like, got a good turn-based RPG with Shin Megami Tensei. If I want some competitiveness, I've been playing Smash or Halo Infinite. It's actually pretty awesome. And then just playing Pikmin Bloom for chill or Pikmin.
Hey, where was the text? I didn't get a text that you were playing.
Yeah, I want to play Halo with you, Patrick.
I am garbage.
Yeah.
So am I.
At first-person shooters, period. But I did play like a lot of Halo 2 and 3. And so like, I don't know. Halo, I'm trying to remember. Maybe I played some Halo 1, but it's mostly 2 and 3.
Yeah, same. Patrick, you and I are probably at the exact same level of skill. We should play together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. It looks really nice. Maybe this will be a good segue then. And I don't know. It's Halo, so it feels like I played Halo 5 some as well, but I wasn't very good at it. But it's got some of that, like that climbing mechanic or whatever is from that one.
Clambering.
And so, yeah.
Are you playing on PC?
Yeah. So, which actually, that should be interesting to talk about. Like, I first started to try to play it with a controller, but I play so much Switch that I couldn't do the Xbox controls. You know what I mean? Like, which I'm sure I can button map or something, but like it was just causing me trouble. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try mouse and keyboard. And I haven't played a mouse and keyboard first person shooter in a really long time. And so, but it's like, okay, maybe I just need to stick with this because
it's a very natural way to do it.
Yeah, it's like I used to do a lot of it like a really long time ago, but man, so I'm gonna try to do that because I don't know, playing with reversed buttons with how much I play on the Switch is really hard for me.
Yeah,
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Playing lots of Halo Infinite. I played with Dylan Muse from Geekverse. We played some Infinite. That was fun. Played with one of his buddies, Taylor, also Canadian. That was fun. It's great.
Rapatika.
Rapatika in the Discord. I also played Back for Blood with Lee. I'm garbage at that game. I am not good. But
I've heard the game is maybe garbage. Is it good?
I don't really get it. I'm gonna give it more time. I can't make a definitive good or bad. I just want to give it more time. I played the alpha, and the alpha was fine. I think this might be interesting to you, Patrick, since you're talking about PC versus console. I will play Halo exclusively with a controller almost always. But I played like Apex and Back 4 Blood. I played on PC.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was like. I played a lot of Halo with a controller. So I'm like,
right.
I was having that moment of like, I think I should just play with a controller. These buttons are fucking with me.
Mm-hmm.
Should I remap these buttons? Should I get an X? Like, should I dig out an Xbox controller? I don't know. I was like having this real crisis of what to do. Like, and I'm still kind of on the fence about
now
it.
I want to hook, mouse and keyboard up to my Series S and try that out. Yeah, because I think you can, right?
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
you sure can.
Yeah,
that's what I've been playing. Been fun. Well, it's great to hear everyone talk about Halo as a person who's been playing the same Halo for the last 6 years and like being involved in this world. It is weird that people are suddenly back in the Halo, and I love it. And
it's real good.
It's not Call of Halo 5 like Halo 5 was.
I know.
I'm playing a little bit of Halo, but not much. I think I've played like 3 or 4 matches or something like that since it came out. And I want to get back into it, but there are just so many fucking games to play right now. Like I'm completely overwhelmed with games. at the moment. And I started a new one the other day, which was not a smart idea, but I'll get to that in a second. What have I been playing on my Switch though? Let's start. I did play a little bit of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. We talked about it earlier in the episode. You've heard my opinions on it. If you want to see my live reactions to it, I would recommend watching the VOD of my stream on Twitch. You'll get my uncut opinions on exactly what I think of Pokemon Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. Speaking of streaming, been playing a bit more Shin Megami Tensei 5. Finally beat the first area of the game. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but it's a lore dump. Like basically you beat the boss for the first area and then it's just like cutscene on cutscene on cutscene and a whole new change of environment and kind of going back to some stuff from the beginning of the game. And so that was really fun. And it was cool that I did that on stream too, because it was just like, all right, everybody, here are all the cutscenes. You know what I mean? But that was fun and love that game. I'm going to keep playing that game quite a bit. Very much enjoy it. Let's see, Picross S Master System and Sega Genesis version. Making my way through that game. I'm doing a puzzle right now. I don't know if you guys can tell what that's going to be. It's not that hard. It's the
Is that
something?
Sonic
Cologne.
Screen. Yeah, it's Sonic Cologne as a
I see
Picross
it.
puzzle.
COLOGNE.
Yeah, you can read those letters. And then lastly, the game that I, also some Forza as well, but basically playing a lot more on my Xbox between Forza and Halo has got me dipping back into Game Pass. And I saw somebody tweet about this game recently, and then I was like, oh, is this on the Switch? Because it would look like it'd be great on the Switch. And it wasn't, but it is on Game Pass, and it's called Sable. And Sable is a beautiful like exploration style game that is very much an indie Breath of the Wild. It's one of these Breath of the Wild. It's a Breath-like, right? Like so many other games that have been coming out recently. But this one is very minimalistic and very beautiful. And it's in this kind of like Dune-y, maybe post-apocalyptic world that's like, it's pretty empty, open desert area, but just the visuals of the game are really beautiful. There's no combat in the game, which I really enjoy. And it's very chill and it's very introspective. You play as a silent protagonist, but whenever you talk to somebody, there's always an inner monologue. Like it's written almost like a first person book or something like that, right? Where it's like, I looked at them and I felt deep inside that something was wrong. And then they'll be like, hey, but this is what's going on in my life. And you're like, I knew it. I knew this was going on. Like whatever. So there's this kind of like little, like really nice little bit of introspection into the character that you don't usually get with a silent protagonist, right? Because they're just trying to like push your own identity onto a silent protagonist. But yeah, it's a wonderful game. It very much is Breath of the Wild. You can climb on anything, you can glide and stuff like that. There are like Korok type collectibles that you can find and stuff like that. But it's got very much its own identity and its own kind of world that it's created. And I couldn't put it down too. It was like very addicting. And I think I had on that day that I was playing it, I think I had breakfast at like 3:40 p.m. because I just like kept like wanting to like go make a bagel or something. But I just like couldn't stop playing the game. And so I was really enjoying it. So I'm definitely going to be jumping back into that. And then all these other fucking games that I've been wanting to play, hoping to get back into those too.
I was reading about this game. Japanese Breakfast does the music for it.
Yeah.
And the music is incredible. It's very, I mean, like some of it is like a very ethereal and like a little formless. It almost reminds me of like what was it? I think Neil Young did the Dead Man soundtrack, something like that he like famously like went into the studio and just like recorded an hour of guitar noodling and then left, and that was the soundtrack for that movie. You know what I mean? Like it kind of feels like that at times, but then there's also like kind of like pop ballads or whatever that like pop up randomly with like vocals and stuff as you're exploring the world. And so that's kind of a cool part of that game as well. Yeah. Beautiful game, Sable. Anyway, Steven, what have you been playing this week, man?
I have been dabbling all over the place. On PlayStation, I just finished A Plague Tale with my wife. That was a really fun game for us to kind of play together and for her to watch. And Yeah, if you don't know what it's about, it's kind of set during 1600s, maybe. It's during
Bubonic
the
plague, right?
bubonic plague, yeah, with the
Yeah,
rats
yeah.
and stuff. But really interesting take on that storyline. Kind of goes into interesting directions, based on history, but definitely not history without spoilers. Very good story game. On Xbox, I've also been playing Infinite as well. It's a lot of fun. I haven't really been, as into a Halo or as excited as Halo until this game. Like with like 4 and 5, it kind of lost me, as I feel like it did with a lot of people. And I was, before playing the multiplayer, I was like not really feeling the campaign. I didn't really know if I'd be interested, but playing the multiplayer beta and seeing how good it feels and how solid everything is, and like I'm really excited about that campaign now. It's like, even if the story falls flat for me, because I'm really big into story and characters in games. Even if that falls flat, I know that the gameplay is going to be solid, and I'm really looking forward to that. And also playing Forza Horizon 5, and I see David's name pop up on my like a Drivatar all the time.
I'm a
and, like,
Drivatar. Yeah.
and speaking of achievements, like it's not an achievement, but it'll pop up these little like things of like, hey, Monolith Fiji has like more of this than you do. Like,
I know. I love
and, like,
that. I love that about Forza Horizon.
It's really fun. Like, it'll just like, if anyone doesn't know, the little thing will pop up at the bottom of your screen. Like, say you run into there's little signs that you run into and break. Say you just broke one, and a little thing will pop up and say like Monolith Fiji David has like 50 and you only have 30. It's like, you better catch up. Like, it just kind of taunts you.
I love it.
So it's constantly updating you with like what your other friends are doing and like where they are. Are you ahead of them? Are you not? And that's always interesting. It's kind of wrapping in that social element again and like integrating it into the game, which is pretty cool. And on Switch, I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles, which I know, Matthew, aren't you? You're really into that, right?
I've heard of that game. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I fell off of it.
I get it. Is it too weeby? Is it too anime for you?
I don't know.
Is weeby? Can I use that word? Is a weeby a way to measure weebness?
It's
Weebitude.
I feel like it's not too bad.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I want to go back to it. Like, I'm not going to drop off of it like forever. But just it wasn't scratching the like RPG itch I was kind of looking for.
You were playing the first one, Definitive Edition, or 2?
Yep.
Okay.
Definitive Edition.
Do you not like a revenge story?
Do you not like good
it's
things?
Just like, I just haven't.
I'm done.
No. It's not a problem with
you
the
have
game.
trashed Matt for the last time on this podcast.
It's a problem with me, man. Like, it needs JRPG. I kind of start to fall off of it. Like, I don't know why. It's just an issue.
You should play Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah. Hey, man, I get it. Some people like tacos. Some people prefer burritos. It's, at the end of the day, we're eating ingredients.
I want to go back to it, but like it wasn't. I was looking for that like RPG itch, and like, I don't know. Paper Mario, I decided to pick that up instead, Origami King, and having a lot of fun with that.
That's a great game. Yeah.
Like, I'm a big fan of the series. I really liked also the Mario and Luigi series. I know it's kind of tangential, but it shares a lot of the similar elements. And that game is just so charming. It's so pretty, and I know this is all
wonderful music.
Yeah. And just the writing is just always top notch in those games. Just really, really good.
And it's $27 at GameStop. It's Black Friday.
Oh, and real quick, I know this is long, but I do want to plug Unpacking on Xbox. If you have Game Pass, or it's on Switch too. I think if you haven't heard of it, very cool indie game. That's the premise is you are acting out, unpacking someone's things throughout different stages of their life. And they do amazing things with storytelling. If you're really into like game design and like thinking about, how games are made and how do you tell stories through games, how do you evoke character through a game, this is something that I've never seen before, where it tells a story about a character without any dialogue, without any text, without anything. It's just objects and you interacting with those objects, and like it's just so smartly designed. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, gotta check that one out. It's not too long of a game, I'd imagine.
No. Well? Yeah, it's like 4 hours. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that one out on Game Pass for sure.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Steven. Thanks for coming on and talking to us about achievements.
Thanks for having me,
And-
y'all.
Yeah, fun episode.
Thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, I am PDYX.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Steven? Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Swirsky.
Very good. Also watch Castlevania seasons 3 and 4. See this man's work. He's a fucking wizard, dude. All the best shots are Steven's. I'm saying that right now.
Not true. Nope.
And check out his Xbox achievements.
Yeah.
Yeah, go look at my gamer tag.
Yeah. He's like, don't watch Castlevania. Very good. And then if you'd like to find our show on social media, ladies and gentlemen, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, and we are at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. And then, of course, join our Discord, join our Facebook group. Our communities are beautiful, blossoming communities that are far better than they have any right to be honest. With some of the best people I've ever met online, very supportive, very non-toxic. And we've got a Secret Santa. You want a gift from somebody? You'll have to buy a gift for somebody else first, but you will get one if you sign up for our Secret Santa, which is, the deadline is this Saturday. So join our Discord if you haven't yet. If you want to get in on that, join our Discord. We got links in there. That'll get you all set up for that. And we'd love to just have you in the Discord. It's such a great place to hang out and such a beautiful community. And we're not trying to shove anything down your throat. Do it if you want. If you don't, that's fine. And then other than that, folks, that's going to do it for today's episode. What a great episode. I had such a good time. Thanks again, Steven. So great to finally have you on the podcast. And what an episode this turned out to be. Congratulations once again to Steve Irwin himself, Matt Hobby. For winning that game, and I hope you play it, and I hope that we actually get to compare our times against each other. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back next week with an all-new episode. You know it's going to be a good one, so you better be here next week. And remember to tell all your friends about this show. Share it on social media. Use that hashtag SwitchHeads, even if it's not for a goddamn giveaway. Spread us around. Whatever. Anyway, we'll be back later. We love you guys very much. Be safe out there. Get your fucking booster shots if you haven't gotten it already. If you haven't gotten a single shot yet, what the fuck are you doing, man? You have no achievements, and we have 3. We love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Okie dokie.